Hello, BookTube. Well, the people have spoken, and their universal acclaim is that book hauls on this channel are not cheap gimmicks. So we will continue doing book hauls on this channel. I like opening my mail and sharing my first thoughts with you. I like that very much. So we're going to keep doing that. And I've got some mail here now that ends with a fuselage of boxes. Not one, not two, but 3 boxes. And Steve likes boxes. Pleasant things sometimes come in boxes. And on very happy days, elderly Donahue relatives are put into boxes. So it's a win-win. So let's see what the first one is here. We've got some envelopes to go through first. Okay, the first one is Lake Union Publishing, an arm of Amazon's rather extensive publishing venture. Let's see, what have we got here? So, the book is, sorry, I will get the hang of this. This is Only Ever Her. And Adam at Memento Mori will be happy to see flowers on the cover. He's a big fan of flowers on the covers. Best-selling author Mary Beth Mayhew Whalen, whose titles include the acclaimed novels When We Were Worthy and The Things We Wish Were True, is back with another gripping, suspenseful novel that is sure to take readers to dark places, but ultimately leave them with a sense of hope. I think, if I remember correctly, that is a fairly succinct description of what the Lake Union line does. Suspense, but humanistic suspense. I think, if I remember correctly, that's the type of book they tend to acquire for this line. So what is this one about? In the small town of Ludlow, South Carolina, the upcoming wedding of longtime resident Annie Taft is considered big news. Decades after her mother was murdered, when she was only 3 years old, Annie has become something of a town darling, raised locally by her Aunt Fay alongside her cousin Clary following the tragedy. Annie's marriage is seen by many as the fairy tale ending to her dark past. It's not looking good for Annie. But in Only Ever Her, which comes out in May, early May, things begin to go awry 2 weeks before the ceremony. Cordell Lewis, the man convicted of murdering Annie's mother, is getting out of prison based on evidence suggesting he may have been wrongly convicted. Annie, who supplied the only testimony against Lewis during his original trial, is rattled by the ruling. She seeks comfort from Kenny, a childhood friend with whom she has maintained a close relationship, only they have both kept secrets from their significant others. If Mary Beth Mayhew Whalen is not doing her duty by me, if she is asleep at the keyboard, then childhood friend Kenny is keeping another secret as well. It has a little something to do with Annie's mother. Let's hope that's not true. This is exactly why thrillers are such a tightrope walk for me when I read them. Because the ones that are really good, and the ones that aren't telegraph that they're not going to be in the first paragraph of the first page. Actually, now that I've said that, we might as well look at the first paragraph of the first page, mightn't we? So what I do here, those of you who are new, there are quite a few of you who are new here, what I do is I take the pub sheet and I do the only origami that I am capable of. I fold it so that the pub date is the first thing I see when I open the book. I don't have to look, I just want to have to open the book and see right away, look down right away and see, not just the month, but the day of the month. But anyway, let's see how this starts. The first chapter is called Annie. Though she has made it as far as parking outside the lawyer's office, she finds herself unable to go in. She has her fingers around the door handle, ready to tug it open at any moment. The car is new, so the door won't creak loudly when she opens it like her old car did. Ah, the Jetta, may she rest in peace. This SUV, a pristine, mature vehicle choice, will not give her any problems. Like her fiancé, Scott, who selected and bought her the Honda CR-V as an early wedding gift, this car is new and reliable and suitable for starting her new life in a few weeks as Mrs. Annie Hansen. Okay. All right, that's not promising. I think you would all agree that's not promising. It's a microscopic focus on a tiny, insignificant detail, getting out of a car, that is loaded with car specifics. I assume from this that a Honda CR-V is a type of SUV, and that Jetta is a type of car, and that in that parenthetical insertion there, the character is not lamenting a dead friend or a dead pet. But there's also the absurdity of that in the very first paragraph she compares her fiance to a car. So it's not promising, but we'll give it a try. We'll read, of course, the rest of it. So let's just move on. We have a cardboard envelope here. It's not a box, but it's refreshingly heavy, so there might be something quite interesting in here. Let's take a look. Oh, it's big, whatever it is. Oh my! Oh goodness gracious! You've got to be kidding me! Oh, all right, all right. Well, I have been acknowledging since the very beginning of this channel that some books that I encounter at the used bookstores or in my personal library or in the mail are tougher sells than others when it comes to BookTube. BookTube has changed a lot since then, but I think this still qualifies. This is okay. This is by Richard Evans, who is fantastic, and it's from Oxford University Press, and it's huge, and it is called Eric Hobsbawm: A Life in History. It is an enormous biography of a historian who's seen, you can't make it out really, the details there because it's so small, but there he is in the black and white photo on the cover of the book, wearing a suit coat with his hands in his pockets, looking a little nonplussed. Don't all buy it at once. Okay, all right. This is the definitive biography of the acclaimed historian. At the time of his death in 2012, at the age of 95, Hobsbawm was the most well-known and most widely read historian of the modern age. No. 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 Stick in academic historian? Maybe. Maybe. If you stick in academic historian, you might get away with taking that away from David McCullough or Barbara Tuchman. But it's unlikely. Even then, it's unlikely, since those people did have after all, worked in academia. No, that just isn't true in any stretch of the imagination. If that's, we'll have to hope that that's confined to the pub sheet, and that kind of overreaching falderall is not part of the book. That wouldn't be Richard Evans' MO at all. His collective works, as well as his huge reputation and global influence, define both the practical and perception of history around the world for generations. Now, that is true. If you wanted to say influential historian, sure. But most well-known and most widely read? No, not by a long shot. Not by Richard Evans is more widely read. Now, for the very first time, Hobsbawm's life and work are meticulously studied in a definitive biography authored by a fellow acclaimed historian. Okay. All right, so this comes out, I assume, a long time from now, April. This comes out in April. This is a bit of an oddity. This is a very long work that no one really wanted. This must be a passion project on the part of Richard Evans. I think I won't be alone among history reading fans who would really prefer it if this time and effort had been spent on something else. But it could be good. In fact, on one level, I know that it will be good. Because, you know, this particular historian is a known quantity. He doesn't write bad books. So on one level, I know that I will like this. It's just, it's a little bit rarefied. Let's see if we can't, that was the deep end of the pool. Let's see if we can't go to something a little more accessible. Never works. Sorry for the absence of Frida. She's right there, but she's demolishing a Chewy toy. So she's not paying any attention to me or the mail. At least I hope it's a Chewy toy. I haven't looked over to see if it's a treasured book. I think it's a Chewy toy. All right, so this is another thriller. This comes out from Minotaur Books on Tuesday. This is No Mercy by Joanna Schaffhausen. And it is, let's see here, it brings dogged police officer Ellery Hathaway back to the foreground in her eagerly anticipated return. So I've missed an Ellery Hathaway novel. Ellery, FBI profiler Reed Markham, and everyone's favorite Basset Hound Bump all return in this heart-pounding mystery that takes readers through two unnerving cases. Everyone's favorite Basset Hound. This is a book with a Basset Hound in it. Okay. Police officer Ellery Hathaway is on involuntary leave from her job because she shot a murderer in cold blood and refuses to apologize for it. Yes, one would think we would be waiting not only for an apology, but for her lifetime imprisonment to run out. Forced into group therapy for victims of violent crime, Ellery immediately finds higher priorities than getting in touch with her feelings. For one, she suspects a fellow group member may have helped to convict the wrong man for a deadly arson incident years ago. For another, Ellery finds herself getting drawn in by a woman who survived a brutal rape. He is still out there, this man with the Spider-Man-like ability to climb through bedroom windows, and his victim besieges Ellery for help in capturing her attacker. Ellery seeks advice from her friend FBI profiler Reed Markham, who liberated her from a killer's closet when she was a child. Reed remains drawn to this unpredictable woman, the one he rescued but couldn't quite save. The trouble is, Reed is up for a promotion, for a potential big promotion, and his boss has just one condition for the new job: stay away from Ellery. Okay. No mention in the plot description of the Basset Hound. That's probably for the best. All right. Well, so it's another thriller. Okay. And then let's see here. Let's make a little more order here. Let's move on to the boxes. We've got 3 boxes, and then we'll be done with this second mail haul, right? This is the second mail haul of the year. Is that right? It's terrible that I don't already know that. Oh, God, help us. Ugh. Okay. All right. This is due soon, January. Probably not a strict on sale date, so it's probably out already or soon. This is another Princeton nature guide. Princeton does a bunch of the Princeton University Press does a bunch of field guides that are brilliant. They're absolutely amazing. And this one is by Luke Hunter with illustrations by Priscilla Barrett, and it's the second edition of their Carnivores of the World. And for some unknown reason, perhaps involving payola, there are cats on the cover only. There are quite a few carnivores in the world who aren't cats, who aren't gigantic, horrible mountain lions. So there we go. River otters. There's the badger, striped skunk, the grizzly bear. Grizzly bears eat a lot that isn't meat, but they are very much carnivores as well. But when are we going to get to... Oh, there we go. There they are. There are my babies. There's black-tailed jackal. So the book is not as prejudiced as the cover. The cover has only felines, mountain lions, male, female, and cubs. But all carnivores are covered here. Fully updated coverage, including new accounts of 9 recently delineated species, 7 new color plates, 16 new pages in larger format. Yes, this is a larger format than some of you might remember. I got one of these for canids, for wild canines, and it was much smaller than this. It was the size of a field guide that you could put in your pocket. This is much more of a book. We'll see. This doesn't come out. Oh no, wait. This is finished. Yeah, this is the finished copy. So this is the size it's going to have. Huh. Okay. I don't know that I would call this a field guide. But maybe I'm just picky about that sort of thing. A field guide means you have it in your pack. It means it's an easy and well-thumbed work of reference. This is, I guess, it would all depend. It would all depend. If you're Kane Marco, you could probably have a book that big in your pack. The comic book fans, the 2 comic book fans are saying, yeah, and everybody else is saying, who the heck is Kane Marco? Let's see here. Let's see what this next one is. If you recognize the name Kane Marco and aren't a comics fan, you might recognize him from a X-Men movie from about 10 years ago. And if you remember him from that X-Men movie from about 10 years ago, then you will remember his famous line, which I'm not going to repeat on this channel, and you'll remember some of you may know, the universal, unbroken, screamed chorus from geeks around the world when he appeared in that movie. And what was that chorus? Juggernaut is not a mutant. What am I thinking, though? If you're going to know him, you're going to know him from Deadpool. from one of the funniest fight scenes in superhero history. So anyway, let's move on. All right, so great. So this is the finished copy of something I think we saw here before. This comes out in early February. This is The Falcon of Sparta by Con Iggulden. And you can see there's our brave Spartan warriors heading into the hot gates, heading into Thermopylae. I think we saw the advanced copy of this. The finished copy is just lovely. I haven't read the advanced copy yet. 401 BC. In the ancient world, one army is feared above all others. The Persian king Artaxerxes rules an empire stretching from the Aegean to the northern India. As many as 50 million people are his subjects. His rule is absolute. But the sons of Sparta are eager to play the game of thrones. The battle can be won or lost with a single blow. Princes fall, and when the dust of civil war settles, the Spartans are left stranded in the heart of an enemy's empire, without support, without food, and without water. Okay, well, this comes out in early February. I need to get to it right away. I will probably, of the things we've seen so far, I will probably read this first, this and the Carnivore Guide. But it continues my idea that 2019 is going to be a banner year for historical fiction. And I love historical fiction, so that's fine by me. And then we get our last one. This is the last box. And then we'll be done with this mail haul. What have we got here? Boxes are also always finished copies, which are nice. Oh, okay. All right. This is, yes, this is another finished copy. This also comes out in early February. This is Men of Air by Kevin Wilson. From what I remember, a standard aviation World War II history book. I haven't read the advanced copy, though, so it could be outstanding. Let's see here. The winter of 1944 was the most dangerous time to be a combat airman in RAF Bomber Command. The chances of surviving a tour were as low as 1 in 5, and the morale had finally hit rock bottom. In this book, A Comprehensive History of the Air War that year, so just that 1 year, Kevin Wilson describes the most treacherous period of the Battle of Berlin and the unparalleled losses over Leipzig and Nuremberg. Yes. Yes, indeed. There were also losses on the ground in Leipzig and Nuremberg. And unlike the losses in the air, none of the losses on the ground were military personnel. But that's okay. Bomber combat crews faced a wide array of perils as they flew over German territory in 1944. Bursts of heavy flak could tear the wings from their planes in a split second. Flaming bullets from German fighter planes could explode their fuel tanks, cut their oxygen supplies, and destroy their engines. Thousands of young men were shot, blown up, or thrown from their planes 5 miles above the earth, and even those who returned faced the subtler dangers of ice and fog as they tried to land their battered aircraft back home. So this, I think I remember this from when we saw this originally. This is going to be a very granular, nuts and bolts study of the RAF in 1 year, and that can be fascinating. So, these are things. There's quite a few books here that I'm going to get to right away. So we have Men of Air, World War II history. We have Falcon of Sparta, historical fiction. We have Carnivores of the World, Cats, etc. We have a thriller called No Mercy. I wouldn't have called it that, of course, but nobody ever asked me. Then we have Eric Hobsbawm, A History, by Richard Evans, by the great Richard Evans, who did the Nazi Germany trilogy that everyone should read. And Only Ever Her, another thriller. So a nice variety this time around. And that will do it for now, but there's plenty more to talk about, plenty more bookish stuff to go through, so you will see this face again. Thank you, BookTube.